Alright, this is my audience, and I only have 4 of them. Let's get in here so they can see you. They're going to sit down during my speech, and then at the end they'll come back up here. I couldn't show them any other way because the camcorder's on top of the fireplace mantle, and there was no way I could set it up to where it could show over their shoulders. Okay, sit down. The name Theodore Teddy Roosevelt may bring forth many ideas such as Republican President, Hunter, Teddy Bear, or Bull Moose Challenger. Teddy Roosevelt had many great accomplishments of his time. Teddy Roosevelt has continued on as a legend for many years and still remains larger than life. During his presidency, Roosevelt managed to pass new laws. One law that Roosevelt passed was the Sherman Antitrust Act. The Sherman Antitrust Act prohibited business activities that the federal government deemed as anti-competitive and forced the government to investigate and pursue companies, trusts, and organizations that the government believed to be suspects of this violation. This law was passed in 1890, and TR used it during his presidency to become known as the Trust Buster. Another law that TR passed in his presidency was the Meat Inspection Act. The Meat Inspection Act of 1906 was a United States Congress Act that prevented adulterated or misbranded meat or meat products to be sold as food and ensures that meat and meat products would be processed and slaughtered under sanitary conditions. The Meat Inspection Act of 1906 came about largely when Upton Sinclair's novel The Jungle was published in 1906 to exploit the dangerous and nasty ways that meat was being processed and slaughtered. Now, thanks to TR, we Americans no longer have to worry about the likeliness of having infectious meat. Another act that Roosevelt passed during his presidency was the Forest Homestead Act. The Forest Homestead Act allowed people to settle on agricultural land that was mostly located in the national forests. TR wanted to pass this law in hopes of the United States to be able to thrive with agricultural settlements. These were a few great laws that Roosevelt had passed during his time as leader, but he had other accomplishments as well. Roosevelt also managed to settle disputes during his time as leader. One dispute that Roosevelt settled during his presidency was the coal strike. The United Mine Workers of America went on strike in 1902 to call attention to their long hours with poor conditions and little wages. With winter nearing and Roosevelt's knowledge of the importance of coal, he called for a conference between the employers and the workers. Although little negotiation was met, the American citizens were astonished at the fact that a president had actually intervened in what was formerly known to only be private industry matters. Another dispute that Roosevelt settled during his time as president was the Alaskan boundary dispute. Alaska's boundaries were not exactly defined before the fact that gold was found in Alaska's Klondike. Once gold was found, Canada had argued that Alaska had breached its panhandle and reached the Pacific Ocean. Americans rejected this view. TR then agreed to an arbitration, and with a majority leads vote, America won, gaining Alaska into its country, and gave TR the credit of this dispute being settled. With great responsibilities and achievements came great reward. Teddy Roosevelt's achievements did not go unnoticed. In his lifetime, he gained a few awards. Teddy won the Congressional Medal of Honor. In Cuba, at the Battle of San Juan Hill, Lieutenant Colonel Theodore Roosevelt led a small army of just a few men towards the opponent's battleground. Upon arrival at the trench, he had fought and defeated the opponent. His acts of bravery and patriotism were then recognized, winning him the Congressional Medal of Honor. He also won the Nobel Peace Prize. During the Russo-Japanese War, Roosevelt invited diplomats from both sides to come and stay with him at his home. He then sent them on the presidential yacht so they could discuss negotiations. During their stay, the diplomats would come back and discuss their negotiations with Teddy Roosevelt and confer with him and ask for him for further advice. In the meanwhile, Roosevelt had written the Treaty of Portsmouth, and at the end of their negotiations, he had diplomats from both sides sign the Treaty of Portsmouth, which ended the war. 1 year later, Roosevelt won the Nobel Peace Prize for his mediation. These awards were highly prized and admired, I am sure, but did not change Teddy's good nature. TR had several achievements outside of the office as well. In his life, he had wrote over 35 books, including The Deer Family, Naval War, and Good Hunting. TR also raised 6 children during his lifetime. They were named Theodore Roosevelt Jr., Alice Roosevelt, Kermit and Quentin Roosevelt, Archibald Roosevelt, and Ethel Roosevelt. Another accomplishment of TR's was his foundation of the National Collegiate Athletic Association, or more commonly known as the NCAA. In the early 1900s, football was highly dangerous, extremely radical, and sometimes fatal. Due to the high fatality rate, football was nearly banned. TR brought it to attention that these injuries could be avoided with the simple addition of new rules, regulations, and protective wear. After pushing the matter and gaining attention from his claims, he was able to form an intercollegiate conference, which was the forerunner that led to the NCAA of what it is now today. Overall, it is clear to see that Theodore Roosevelt was a busy man in his life. President or not, he had many achievements to speak of, too many to be able to note in this speech. Teddy Roosevelt was a well-accomplished man and had a life full of achievements and a creation of a legend to live on forever. If y'all come back up here and show that you are still here, please. I don't know if you're in here.
Yeah, I'm in. I see me.
Okay. How do you stop it?